Morning team, Greg, Acupuncture Queenstown. Today we're going to be discussing diet. Where do we start? Never has a topic been more hotly debated and more varied and have more strong opinions than diet and nutrition. Oh my God, it can do your head in, okay? Many different ideas come and go, like fashions, they come and go over time. Interesting enough, you can have, on one end of the spectrum, you have the raw food people over here, and often they have that goes with the vegan, vegetarian thing potentially over this side. And raw food's the way to go, that's what we need to do. And on the other side, you will have maybe the paleo and the keto people, often with the cooked food here, talking about meat. Meat's the way to go. So meat and fat over here, and stuff you would kill as a cave person, and farming type stuff over here, and raw food and vegetables and things, and everything in between. And the fascinating thing is both sides have gorgeous people. Both sides have a spokesperson who looks fabulous in a bikini or a pair of swimmers and stuff. Beautiful skin, lovely, smiling, gorgeous, oh, fabulous. Same the other side. Fabulous, lean, no fat, looking lovely, oh, look at my bum, blah, blah, blah. It's amazing. So where's the truth in this? Interesting. On these topics as well, people get very hotly jump up and down about. Now, I'm not going to use the moral issues of meat versus vegetables and stuff, because that's a whole different discussion, and that's not really the point of this. This is more about your health and your nutrition and how your system works. And this is really important, how your system works. Now, within Chinese medicine, the concept, and I'm going to simplify this a lot, but the concept of nutrition is about absorption. I mentioned this in some other videos. It is what you eat, but it's also about what you can absorb. You could eat the most expensive, fabulous, organic, free-range food you can, prepared by the best chefs in the world. But if your system won't absorb it, it just passes through and you get expensive poo. Okay, it's not a linear, this is what we eat, this is what happens. And this is the mistake I think a lot of nutritionists and dietitians make, a lot of the Western scientists make, is their analysis of food is based on laboratory analysis, where you analyze foods for enzyme content, nutrition content, vitamins, etc. And then you assume that that's what's going into the body, but it isn't. Okay, that's what we call gross. Same with the finance kind of thing. You've got gross income and you've got your net income after the tax is gone. Okay, your body works on net. It works on what it can absorb from what you've eaten. So certain food preparations make it easier to absorb things. If you try eating raw meat, you're going to really struggle. It's real hard to chew, takes ages, and you don't absorb it very well because you're not a dog or a lion or any of those kind of creatures who seem to handle that much better. Okay. Same with certain vegetables. There are certain vegetables that are really hard stroke impossible to digest if you have them raw. There are certain beans and pulses and so on, you need to soak them. Soak them for 24 hours or 12 hours, change the water another 12 hours or something. It can be like days of soaking. Otherwise they get you tons of wind and pains and all sorts of stuff. So there's a lot of preparation techniques that we've learned over the millennia of human existence to make digesting certain things easier. There's also combinations a lot of traditional cultures will have of certain herbs and spices that help you to digest things. How you combine the food. You may well find that if you have, let's say you have a steak and some vegetables, it seems to be fine. You feel okay. Then you look at the dessert menu, because we all like to look at the dessert menu, don't we? And then you felt fine, digestion felt fine, and you have this fabulous chocolate brownie ice cream thing, and then very quickly you feel bloated, you feel uncomfortable, it doesn't work. It's the combination of the two things. So this can get very complicated in the combination. From a Chinese medicine point of view, if your digestion is weak, we need to simplify things and just ramp it all the way back. The simplest stuff to digest as a general rule is cooked, well cooked for a long time in a soup type situation. Okay? And the simpler the food, the better. In fact, if you're really done in and struggling, they will give you rice water. Literally, the water that the rice has been boiled in. Because in theory, that's the easiest thing to digest. And then you work your way up from there. it appears that only people with a super strong digestion can handle the raw food. And again, I'm probably going to get a whole lot of flack for this, but in my experience with myself and patients over the years, only very few people can handle the raw thing. A little bit of raw is probably okay. But if you look at all traditional cultures, so far as I know, every country in the world, the traditional cultures all cook, all of them. And any traditional recipe or food or particular specialty of an area is nearly always cooked. There's some things like some Japanese cooking, you'll find the vegetables that are pickled. But the pickling makes it easy to digest, it does break things down a little bit. And you go almost anywhere else, everything is cooked. And this is why fire is so important. This is what moved. There's a whole thing about evolution and humans discovering fire, and that allowed them to eat different things and move further on. So we'll get to that because I'm not a history expert. So in terms of your digestion, my suggestion is that we keep it real simple. If you're having problems with your digestion, ramp it back to simpler foods, only 1, 2, possibly 3 ingredients at a time. Go for the soup type thing. Go for the slow cookers, the casseroles, stews, those kind of things. Things you've been cooking for a long time. And you'll generally find these digest reasonably easily. Okay. Keep it to the traditional food of your area as best you can. All of Asia and all of India eat rice as their main carbohydrate. Most of us seem to tolerate rice pretty well. But we can still, carb-wise, we can have sweet potatoes, some of the other root vegetables and so on are quite high in the carbs. It would appear that green grains, apart from rice, the other grains can cause issues. If you want to go full paleo, rice would be off the menu as well, but I find most people are okay with rice. The other grains, the wheats and stuff, there's all the gluten thing, it's really popular at the moment in terms of intolerances. When I say popular, it just seems to be more people having issues with, particularly gluten, but some of the other grains. Grains rely on farming. I have to confess I lean a bit towards the paleo concept of what would humans have eaten hundreds of thousands of years ago, wandering around the jungles or the plains of wherever we were hanging out. And we wouldn't really have a lot of these grasses-based grains. Again, you can look into this. I might put some links at the bottom of this to books you might find helpful. But come back to keeping it simple. Then you want to cook everything, and you either steaming works, so long-term slow cooking works. As your digestion improves, or you feel like you can, then you can steam stuff, you can stir fry things, but everything cooked to a certain extent. And you need to then assess how your body is. Don't take my word for it or anybody else's word for it, frankly. See what your body will handle. There appears to be, and it depends on, again, who you read, but a lot of systems you'll notice have 3 types of people. Now, in a Western sense, there are 3 physical types. You have an ectomorph, a mesomorph, an endomorph. Now, I'm a classic ectomorph. You may not be able to tell from how I'm sitting here, but I'm naturally on the skinny side. I naturally have small joints, small bones. I tend to be light. I tend to lose weight easily. I have trouble putting on weight. The endomorph is the opposite. It tends to be on the heavier side. It tends to put on weight easily, struggles to lose weight. Okay, and in the middle is the mesomorph. The mesomorph is your Olympians. Okay, your mesomorph is your natural athletes. If you want to look at, I give people examples of film people because it's easier to see what they're like. If you look at someone like, what's his name? Henry Cavill, Superman, and say Dwayne The Rock Johnson, people like that, on the male front. Naturally big, naturally strong, bit of training, big. There's no way, there's no amount of steroids I could take in the world or anything else that would make me as big as Dwayne Johnson. Or on the rugby front, Samuel Williams, I'm over in New Zealand, people like that. You know, pick any sport, and it's the same for the female athletes as well. You have some of the female sprinters and so on, different structures. But let's not get into that too much. You have 3 main types. So once you work out which one you are, there are differences in nutrition and in training you can handle. The training that works for a mesomorph would kill me. It would literally just flatten me. And it'll be too much for the endomorph. So you have to adjust your training and your nutrition based on that. Okay. In the Ayurvedic system, which is the Indian system, you have Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and they essentially align with those 3 types: Vata and ectomorph, Pitta and mesomorph, and endomorph and Kapha. If you want to look up, again, I might try and find some links for this, but have a quick look at what's my dosha. It's called your dosha, or your body type. And you not just a short question, usually about 5 minutes. A few questions, you know, is your hair thin or thick? Is your skin oily or dry? Do you get anxious? Do you do this? How's your body structure? You go blah, blah, blah. And you'll generally predominate to one of these. And in the Ayurvedic medicine system, which is as old, I believe, as Chinese medicine, or at least close to as old, they will give very specific guidelines as to what foods will suit you and preparation techniques for those 3 types. Okay, so this one-size-fits-all thing is mental. Now, the one-size-fits-all I gave you is a real kind of like the simplest version, but again, it may not suit your system, so you have to do some trial and error here. So notice that there's 3 types, and there is discussion as to whether there's 3 original humans, and there's a big thing I'm still looking into, 3 original tribes, as to where humans popped up around the world and what time, which leads to our different structures and blah blah blah. But bigger discussion. So, come back to nutrition. Now, I will just briefly mention the vegetarian and meat thing. This is where I'm going to get my head shot. Anyway, you can be a vegetarian or even potentially a vegan and be healthy, but, and it's a big but, you have to be a good one. 9 out of 10 or 99 out of 100 vegans and vegetarians are lazy. Not lazy people, that's not the point in terms of nutrition. It's so much easier. If you have an egg, you have a steak, that sort of stuff, you get all the protein, all the amino acids, and the B vitamins and iron and that sort of stuff. Boom, easy peasy. All sorted out for you. If you're going to do that on the vegetable front, you need to know a lot. You need to be properly educated in this. I know a few people like this, but unfortunately everybody else doesn't. Most people just will have beans on toast, and they'll have veggie sausages and veggie bacon and veggie burgers and stir fries and stuff. Again, overall may not be too bad, but over time it will affect you. Okay, over time deficiencies seem to show up. And then you end up supplementing, which I always think is interesting, you know, taking essentially factory produced or chemically produced supplements to assist. So you can do it, but you need to know what to combine. Okay, you need to know how to combine the right beans and pulses and so on, and how to prepare them, as I said before, soaking this, soaking that. A friend of mine in London knew what he was doing with this, and his kitchen was astounding. There were jars of things soaking, 5 different things with little bits of paper with little notes on how long they'd been soaking for and what they were going to do, and how he knew how to combine this with this with this, giving them full amino acid profile for his proteins. This would give them this vitamin and that one. Then he would add these herbs and these spices to make that easy to digest, particular preparation techniques. And that worked, but it was a lot of work. Okay, it isn't easy. Honestly, I wish it was, but it's not. And I'm not a fan of all the, again, I get myself shot, but I'm not a fan of the veggie sausages, burgers and those sorts of things, because they seem to rely on a lot of additives, a long list of ingredients in them to make them work. Again, we're not talking a moral discussion here because it's a bigger thing. I'm assuming if you're going to eat the meat thing, it's organic, free range and so on, but we won't get into that. So you can do it, but you have to be good and you have to know. My suggestion is, if you're going to go down the vegetarian line, is look heavily into Indian cooking. Indian cooking is amazing for this because they've been doing it for thousands of years and they do pretty well, so they seem to be fine. Okay, so it can be done and it tastes nice. It tastes great, actually. Properly done. So look into these things. Again, I might put some links on if I can find them. If I forget, the Ayurvedic cookbook is great. It has a list on your doshas too, what sort of foods you should eat, preparation techniques and so on. Fantastic. Otherwise, you know, you've got to work out a balance here as to how that is. Test things, see how your system is. Retest after 6 months, see how you feel. A lot of people, when they go, actually on either one, if they go down the paleo route, keto route, or they go down the vegetarian route or the vegan route, feel fabulous for the first 2 months. And they go, oh, this is the best thing, I knew I should have done this ages ago. A lot of that, in my opinion, is because both of these systems will get you to cut out the rubbish. You're cutting out the sugars, you're cutting out the booze off, and you're cutting out all the manufactured yucky gunk, and you're going more natural. Both of them are natural, just different ends. Okay. Anyway, like I said, it's a big one and everyone gets funky, and please don't shoot me. I'm just trying to help, honestly. Now, I think to mention just about the diet is your digestion. Again, it's easier to digest things that have been well cooked for a long time they tend to go through better. If your digestion is messed up, it's generally, Chinese medicine wise, two things. One is just a straightforward weak, what we call stomach and spleen, pancreas energy or qi, or it's what we call the liver invading digestion. That is the stressy anger stuff we talked about in another video, invading the digestion. It kind of messes it up, and that's that emotional tension side of things. So no matter how good your digestion is, if you're stressed and anxious and tense and worried about something, and there's something going on, or you're moving house, or getting divorced or something, it just doesn't work, because that invades upon the digestion. Okay, so be aware of that aspect of things. In terms of strengthening digestion, it is looking after yourself over time. It is eating stuff that your system likes over time. You can do the probiotic thing, microbiome thing, realizing the effects of the antibiotic long term, and some of the dodgy food and stuff that we have, and the food chain, and big discussions about that, the food manufacturing processes, or you would need treatment for that. Again, I'm not advertising the treatment. There's go find people in your area. That's fine. Happy to help if you need me to. But you're working on that, and you're working on that stress thing, and seeing how your system is. It's really quite a chronic problem in the modern world, is digestive weaknesses and issues. And it's a combination of the stress stuff, the worry stuff, the long-term effects of things in the food chain, and how we were brought up, and what we ate when we were children, etc., and how we prepare things and the sort of foods we choose to eat on a regular and consistent basis. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful. If it's not, do let me know, but nicely. Constructive criticism, always appreciated. Questions, do please ask. I'll do my best to answer. Again, the caveat of that is depending on time and kids and life and stuff. I hope it's helpful. I hope you had a great day. Greg, Acupuncture Queenstown.